What's a transversal? A line that cuts through two or more, right? Lines, okay? So if a transversal, if that line intersects two parallel lines, okay, this being the key for this problem, intersects two parallel lines, then dot, okay? There are four. There are four theorems. I'm going to break it into three. Maybe we'll just do four. These four things will be true, okay? Number one, I know that same side, if you're using abbreviations, you can do SSIA, but I want to make sure everyone knows what they stand for. So, same side interior angles or SSIA are supplementary. Okay, so here's what this is going to look like today. Let's say we have this picture. If they tell us, do you remember how they mark that lines are parallel? The angle, or it looks like an angle, the arrow on each line, right? So if I go like this, I'm saying those lines are parallel right now, okay? If that's my setup, and I have angle 1, angle 2, angle 3, angle 4, and angle 5. Okay, we're going to use this picture for all four of our theorems. Okay, so the first one says same side interior angles are supplementary if the lines are parallel. Well, they told us here that the lines are parallel. So what can you tell me about my same side interiors? They're supplementary. They're going to add up to 180. Which two angles are same side interiors right now? Gentlemen, you with me back there? Put your iPad away. Or take notes if you're taking notes. 1 and 2. Okay, so this is saying that angle 1, or say the measure of angle 1 plus the measure of angle 2 will equal 180 degrees if the lines are parallel. Okay, and they told us the lines are parallel, so 1 and 2 have to add up to 180. Okay, so that's your first theorem. Questions on that one? Okay, the second one then says same thing, okay, same start, we're starting up here. If a transversal intersects two parallel lines, then alternate interior angles or if you're abbreviating, AIA, are, any guesses here? What are your alternate interiors in that picture? 1 and 3. What do you guess is true of them if the lines are parallel? They're congruent, okay? So alternate interior angles are congruent. So that means in this picture, angle 1, I'm going to switch that up so angle 1 is congruent to angle 3. Okay, alternate interiors will be congruent if the lines are parallel, which in this case they are. Okay, so that's the second one. Third one says that if the lines are parallel, then alternate exterior angles or if you're abbreviating, AEA. What do you suppose alternate exteriors are? Look at the picture. What are your alternate exteriors? 4 and 5. What do you suppose is true of them? Not supplementary. Those are congruent, right? Those are the same size, 4 and 5. So this one's going to be congruent as well. So we would say that angle 4 is congruent to angle 5. Those are alternate exterior angles. Okay. One way that you can kind of notice that, we said that 1 and 3 were congruent, right? 1 and 4 are vertical angles, and 3 and 5 are vertical angles. So now you can see that 5 and 4 would be congruent. So you can kind of use the transitive property to get there. Okay, and then the last one, number 4 here, says that corresponding angles, if lines are parallel, corresponding angles. Any guesses on this one? What are your corresponding angles in this picture? 4 and 3. What do you suppose is true of 4 and 3? They are congruent. Okay, so that would be angle 4 is congruent to angle 3. So here's the trick. Notice what's happening in all of these. It said alternate interiors are congruent, alternate exteriors are congruent, corresponding angles are congruent. So most of them are congruent. The only one that's not is your same side interior angles, and those are supplementary. So here's how I always tell people to keep it straight, which one is which. Same side interior angles, that's an S, right, are supplementary. So the S's stick together. Everything else is congruent. Does that make sense? Okay. So we're going to do a few examples. Any questions on those before I move on? All right. Example 1. If I give you this picture, and this is marked this way, and then we have angles 1, 2, 3, and 4, and 5, 6, 7, and 8. Okay, first thing you should note is you do have a pair of parallel lines there, right? If the lines are parallel, then all 4 of those theorems that I just told you are true, okay? You have congruent of all the 3 different types of angles and supplementary of the same side interiors, okay? Okay, so let's say I tell you the measure of angle 5 is 55 degrees, okay? Can you tell me which angles are supplementary to angle 3? Okay, so angle 3 is right here. I want to know every angle in this picture that would be supplementary to that. So maybe you're using the angles we've talked about, or maybe you're using a different idea, but give me one angle that would be supplementary to that. Jason.
4.
Okay, so angle 4, why is angle 4 supplementary?
Mainly because it's congruent to angle 2, and angle 2 is same side interior angle 5, and angle 5 is equal to angle 3.
Oh, I changed my number. I was like, wow, you're really going about this in a funky way. I changed my number. I meant to say angle 3 is 55. Sorry. We're going to write this as angle 3 up there. Yes, angle 3 is 55. That was good reasoning. You just did a very transitive process there. Okay, so angle 3 is 55. Therefore, angle 4 would be supplementary. Why would angle 4 be supplementary to one we already know is 55? Right here.
So
It forms a, what's that called? A straight line, a linear pair, right? So we can say angle 4 would be supplementary. Oops. Because it's a linear pair. Yeah, Nolan.
You said 8 as well?
Yep, we're gonna say as many as we can. So the next one we'll say, sure, we'll go 8. Why is angle 8 supplementary to 3?
Because it's the same, it's congruent to 4, and since 4 works 8, this is 1.
Okay, so here's the beauty in this. You could say 4 is congruent to 8 because they're corresponding, Therefore, because 4 is supplementary, 8 will be supplementary also. So you can do it that way. Or you could say 8 is what kind of angle with 3? Same side interior, right? So we're going to that's probably the quicker route. So we're going to say it's a same side interior angle with 3. Angle 3. Okay? So 8 and 3 are supplementary. 4 and 3 are supplementary. Do you see another one? Yeah, Chloe. 2. Why is 2 supplementary? It's a linear pair with 3. Right? Forms a straight line with 3. There's one more. What is it? Angle 6. And why would 6 be supplementary? You could say it's congruent to 2 because they're corresponding, or you could say it's a vertical angle with 8, which is also supplementary. So yeah, either one of those reasons is fine. The beauty of this is you have a lot of ways to get there. So if you don't see it the same way I see it, you might see it a different way, and that different way might still work. Okay? Any questions on that? Okay. We're going to do a proof. So here's what we're given. So given that A is parallel to B, we're trying to prove that angle 1 and angle 8 are supplementary. Okay, and here's our picture. Here's line A and line B. Our given told us they're parallel, so we'll put arrows on there to show that they're parallel. And then this is 1, this is 5, this is 8, and this is 7. Okay, so remember, proofs, you have to think one little step at a time. Okay, and a lot of times we think those steps in our head, so we think, duh, like that's easy. But you got to break it down. Why did you get from here to here? Why did you get from here to here? Why did you get to the next step? Why did you get to the next step? So here's what we're going to do. I'll tell you the left side. You tell me the right side. Step 1. A is parallel to B. How do we know that? It was given. Step 1 is always given. Okay? All right, so step 2, I'm going to say that angle 1 is congruent to angle 5. How do I know that? How do I know that 1 is congruent to 5? Sorry. They're corresponding angles. Okay, so corresponding angles are congruent if the lines are parallel, right? You don't have to write that whole thing out. You can just say for me corresponding angles. Technically, it's the corresponding angles theorem. I can just take corresponding angles, okay? All right, so if that's the case, I'm going to say that angle 5 and angle 8 are supplementary. How do I know that 5 and 8 are supplementary? They're a linear pair, right? If they form a straight line, then they are supplementary. Okay, so then I can say the measure of angle 5 plus the measure of angle 8 will equal 180. How do I know that 5 plus 8 equals 180? Because they're supplementary, right? In the last step, it told us they were supplementary. So that's the definition of supplementary angles. Okay, so now I'm going to say the measure of angle 1 plus the measure of angle 8 is 180. Do you see why I can make this that? Right, 1 and 5 are congruent. If you look up here, 1 and 5 are congruent. So if 1 and 5 are congruent, I can take out the 5, put in the 1. What is that called? Not distributive. Transitive or substitution. Substitution makes a little more sense here, I feel like, but transitive is doable. Okay, so if that's the case, then I can say angle 1 and angle 8 are supplementary, which is what they asked us to prove, right? Prove that they are supplementary. How do I know that? How do I know they're supplementary? What is the step before telling us? Telling us they equal 180, which is the definition of supplementary angles. If you look, I feel like this was the one anyway. If you look in your book on this one, there's a mistake. I think it was this one. So go with this, okay? Not the book version. Any questions on that proof? All right. Let me show you a picture. Let's say I tell you that these are parallel, and then the double, meaning those ones are parallel. We'll call this line L, line M, line P, and line Q. And then we're just gonna number a bunch of angles here. So this is angle 1, angle 2, angle 3, angle 4, angle 5, angle 6, angle 7, and angle 8. And I'm gonna tell you one angle, okay? Here's the beauty of this type of setup. If you have two pairs of parallel lines and I give you one angle, you can find every other angle in the picture and it's one of two numbers, okay? There will only, it's really not a lot of work because it's only two different numbers. You gotta figure out what number it is. Okay, so let's say this angle right here is 105 degrees. Pick an angle, tell me what its measure is. Jason.
7 and 8.
Just tell me one.
Okay, 7.
7 is,
105.
angle 7 is 105. Why do we know angle 7 is 105? It's a vertical angle to the 105 that we have, right? Okay, so we know this is 105. How about another one? Can you tell me what angle 3 is?
It's 85. No.
3 is 105. Why is 3 105? Those are alternate interior angles, right? AIA, alternate interior angles. So we know this is 105. Okay, can you tell me angle 5? Not 85, but you're on the right track. 75. Why is 5 75? And you have a few ways you could go. Oh, what did I just do? Oh, sorry. I was looking at 4. Good night. Did you say 105? Who said who I thought was 85? Did you say 105? Oh, okay. I just want to make sure I wasn't correcting. We'll go with 5. Angle 5 is 105. Why is angle 5 105? It's vertical to 3, or it's corresponding to the 105. So you can take either route there. It doesn't really matter. I'm going to go with corresponding just because that's the new thing we're talking about. So 5 is 105. What's angle 2? That one would be 75. Why is 2 75?
Because it's a linear pair with things.
It's not a linear pair with 5. Because a linear pair has to have the same vertex, right? That is a same side interior angle with 5.
Oh,
Okay, so what's angle 1? That would be 75 because of what? It's a vertical angle. How about 8? 8 is 105 because it forms a linear pair with 2 or 1. Okay, so that's 105. So what's 4? 4 is 75, and you can say same side interior or alternate interior or same side interior. So you have 3 options for angle 4, right? Your reasoning behind it. And then what's angle 6? 6 would be 105. And again, that could be an alternate interior with this guy. It could be a linear pair with that one. You have lots of options, okay? Questions on that? Okay, notice every one of those angles, 105 or 75. That will be every single angle in the picture. You will not find any other value in there, okay? Okay. Last example. I know it looks like a ton of work, but it really goes pretty quick, right? You know you're looking for one or the other. All right, let's say we are told that these 2 lines are parallel. And we want to know if this is y, this is 80, and this is 40. What is the value of y? Okay, so here's what you need to see in this picture. If these lines are parallel, and this is our transversal, what kind of angles are here and here? So ignore that other diagonal line for right now. What kind of angles are those? They're supplementary because they would be same side interiors. Do you see that? Okay. So bigger picture, right? This angle and that angle are same side interiors, which means all of that put together has to add up to what? 180. So you would say that 40 plus y, right, that's the one angle, plus 80, which is the other angle, is going to equal 180 degrees. Okay, then from there you just simplify. So y plus 120 equals 180. Take away the 120, so y is going to be 60 degrees. Questions on that?